Hi writers, today we are going to learn that students write about lessons that their book has taught. We can learn life lessons through lots of our books. Today I'm going to read Perfectly Norman. While listening, let's think about what the lessons are that we can learn throughout this book. Perfectly Norman. Norman had always been normal, perfectly normal, until one day he grew a pair of wings. Norman had imagined growing taller or growing a beard like his dad, but he never imagined growing a pair of wings. Still, they were here now, so he decided to test them out right away. Soon Norman was swooping around and gently having the most fun ever. But then he had to go in for dinner. You see, Norman had always been so normal he didn't know how his parents would feel about his extraordinary wings. Dinner! They're calling back there. As he went in, Norman covered himself up in a great big coat. His parents didn't notice the wings, but they did think it was odd to be wearing a coat indoors. Bath time was problematic. So was bedtime. The coat was hot and uncomfortable, but Norman decided no one should see his wings ever. The next day, Norman went to the park, but was far too hot to play in any of his favorite games. And so it went on. Long car journeys were unbearable. The swimming pool was dreadful. And that was nothing compared to his friend's birthday party. He's starting to feel left out, isn't he? The only time that Norman felt normal was now when it rained. Because now we fit in, right? Everyone's wearing coats. He doesn't kind of stand out. I think what's interesting too with the illustrator is that everyone's in a shade of gray or black, and he's in there with a bright yellow coat. One day a boy tried to pull off his coat and Norman had to run away, hot-faced, angry, and sad. He wished he had never grown those stupid wings. So upset. Then he saw some birds high in the sky and remembered the joy of his first flight. It occurred to Norman that it was the coat that was making him miserable, not the wings. Why didn't you take off that scruffy old thing? Suggested his mom and dad. Norman looked up at them hesitantly. His parents smiled and nodded. Norman smiled back. Then he threw off the coat and let his wonderful wings fan out. Norman leapt into the air. Finally, he was free of that coat. He noticed a few other children wearing thick, heavy coats of their own. They looked up at Norman and around at one another nervously. There was a moment's pause, and then what you think what could happen? Whoosh! The sky was filled with flying people. Norman had never felt so happy. Now back to this. While we were listening, I asked us to think about what were the lessons we are supposed to learn here as learners, not support, supposed to learn. Let's think about what lessons we are supposed to learn. So what lessons is this book teaching us? I have the book right here. And I also wanted to take a note about the back and then the inside flap. It says Norman had always been perfectly normal until he grew a pair of wings. And then right outside it says, meet Norman. Norman is normal, perfectly normal. That's until he grows a pair of wings. Norman loves his new wings, but he's worried about what everyone will think. After all, they're definitely not normal. He decides to cover them with a coat, but hiding such a big part of his life makes him feel miserable. Can Norman find the courage to be himself? This bold and uplifting book is about daring to be different and celebrating what makes you, you. So let's think. You have the courage to be yourself. Another one would be daring to be different and celebrating what makes you, you. So in other words, sorry, there's a little crumb on there. In other words, be yourself no matter what. We can celebrate the differences, right? We can celebrate that Norman has wings. We can celebrate that Miss Stein has glasses, right? We can celebrate that some friends might get more nervous during different times of our day, or some friends might not like when our schedule is thrown off, or some friends might not like conflict with friends. But all of those, friends, are lessons that books can teach us. These lessons would be great to share in our letters, right? Remembering writers, whenever you are looking at developing new opinions, you can ask yourself, developing new opinions, you can ask yourself, what lesson does this book teach me? Then write that in your letter. So we can add that to our strategy. What else can we write about? We can write about the life lessons. Thinking about what life lesson does your book teach you, and share that in your writing today. Now remember, it doesn't matter what piece of paper you're using. If you're writing about Perfectly Norman or another book, make sure you introduce it and then go right into maybe sharing us a life lesson that it has taught you. A lot of books we've read have all shown us life lessons, so you can pick one specifically about a life lesson. But don't forget to share your opinion and have elaboration with those linking words.